Hi guys, this is Dr. Tunis and welcome to another Hunt for Wellness blog. Today I'm going to be discussing gluten and why you and your family should consider going gluten-free. Now before you think I just gave you Mission Impossible, I'm going to give you some very practical advice and tips to make sure you can do this successfully. Now before we get into how to go gluten-free, it's good to understand what gluten is and why you should consider eliminating it from your diet. Gluten is a protein complex found in most grains, and part of that complex is a protein called gliadin. Gliadin, unfortunately, in many individuals, creates an inflammatory response in your gastrointestinal tract and creates an intolerance. Now, an intolerance is completely different than what we call a food allergy. Food allergies, as you're probably aware of, is an anaphylaxis shock or an anaphylaxis reaction, so this is an IgE reaction, and can cause hives and shallow breathing and an immediate response to a food. When intolerance or a delayed reaction is a little bit different, and so you could eat something today and maybe by tomorrow, even the following day, create an issue as far as how you feel, what's going on in your skin. The major symptoms that we find with many gluten intolerant people are an inability to lose weight, depression, female hormone imbalances, and certainly GI issues such as bloating, gas, and constipation. So if you struggle with any of those things, you should consider eliminating gluten from your diet. Now, when we decided to go gluten-free as a family, we did so a couple years ago. And we did primarily because our kids were experiencing some skin rashes on their bodies. And we decided that going gluten-free might be a solution or a solve to solve that problem. And certainly, after we implemented a gluten-free diet, many of those symptoms went away. And I know what you're asking yourself, well, what can I do to go gluten-free, especially for kids and on a busy lifestyle? Well, let's start with your breakfast. Unfortunately, most people grab a very gluten-dominant breakfast. Gluten, as I mentioned, is in many forms of grain and can be found in cereals, breads, pastas, and pastries. And that's unfortunately part or majority of the American diet. So, first of all, you want to kind of switch that. You want to maybe do like a healthy shake. If you saw my previous blog, you saw that I talked about a healthy breakfast shake that I make, or you can make a variation of that. Or we can do like an egg or an omelet and put it in a tortilla wrap or something like that. Now, if you have to have cereal, or if you have kids that maybe don't eat eggs or don't do a shake, there are such things as gluten-free cereal. Our kids eat it all the time. I know you can't see the box in here, but this is a form of gluten-free cereal. It's made of a rice-based product, and our kids love it and they do very well with it. Another thing we do is we eat pancakes. Pancakes do not have to have gluten in them. We found some very good sources of flours that can make pancakes. Most flours that these products use are a bean source or a rice source, and therefore they can tolerate it without having the gluten in it. Another thing that you can do is make a grain-free pancake mix. And in some of our cookbooks that we offer and some of the things that you can find on the internet, you can see using garbanzo bean flour or coconut flour, some different flours to make it gluten-free and grain-free, so therefore you can have a very healthy breakfast option. Now, as far as lunches, you know, salads are always good. Put some fresh chicken, fresh meat on it. If you need a sandwich, there is such a thing as gluten-free bread. We buy gluten-free bread all the time. Typically, you find it in a freezer section, however. So definitely look for it in your local grocery store. Certainly the healthy chained grocery stores are a little bit more prevalent as far as variety, but we found some very good options. We enjoy the Glutano brand a lot. We find that our kids enjoy that a lot. So for a lunch, you can have that, or just find like a coconut wrap or another corn wrap or something that doesn't have gluten in it, and that could give you a good option as far as a lunch. Now, dinners, obviously meat and vegetables. Try to stay away from your starches, your bread, pastas, and rices. You don't need those things anyway. But if you have to have them, there are some options out there. We found some very good sources of spaghetti or noodles that are gluten-free, that if we just want to do an Italian or a pesto or something, we could do that and not skip a beat and feel like we're eating just like everybody else. For kids, macaroni and cheese, you can still do it gluten-free. There are options out there. So again, get out there and look, and you can find a better option. As far as snacks are concerned, they do make gluten-free crackers. This is one of our favorite sources, the Marigon crackers. In fact, a lot of times when we want to do a breaded piece of fish or chicken or something, we take the crackers and just blend them and create a breadcrumb crust. And so you can still have the chicken parmesans or the encrusted fishes and other foods that you love using flour and wheat on. You can do gluten-free. There's a lot of good recipes out there. We have some on our site as well as other good resources out on the internet. And again, cannot skip a beat and do completely gluten-free in your house. Another source of flour we use is coconut flour. As I mentioned earlier, we use this, and we use the almond flour in our house quite a bit as far as a lot of the baking and the cooking. So again, all these bean flours are all gluten-free and easy to do. Snacks, I recommend vegetables or carrots and fruit rather, but if you have to have chips and crackers, certainly gluten-free options are available to you. One of the ones that our kids typically like are these, this brand, again, Glutano. They do really well with it. Now again, not all gluten-free products are necessarily healthy products, so fruits and vegetables are always better to use, and whole foods are always better things to do, such as salads and meats and so forth. But the point I wanted to make to you is going gluten-free is not a death sentence. Going gluten-free is actually much easier than you can imagine, and you won't even skip a beat, and you'll probably enjoy most of these foods better than the current ones that you're using. I know for a fact most of you will feel tremendously better going gluten-free. Most of our patients that we work with as far as adrenal fatigue and thyroid issues, gluten-free diet is one of the #1 factors in whether or not they get better or not. So go gluten-free, give it a try for at least 60 days, and see if you don't feel a tremendous difference in your health. Hopefully that helps. Go gluten-free, and until next time, this is Dr. Tunis Jr. guiding you on your hunt for wellness.